Hello, it is Selene here from Swinky Mountain, and I am here to talk to you about all things for packing your knitting or crocheting while you are hiking and or fishing. The reason that I focus on this as a subgroup is because when I am specifically packing for this kind of trip, it is way different than when I'm packing for, say, airline trips or extended camping trips, and definitely different than a car trip, because I just think there's just some special things that come, right? When you're planning on walking for an extended distance or you're fishing. So let's dig in. The first thing that I think of that is super important when you're getting ready to pack for hiking or fishing is what kind of pattern you pick. And I think it's really important for you to pick a pattern that can be easily broken up into chunks, or is a pattern that, and you can like see the cloud shift behind me, that only uses 1 or 2 skeins of yarn. And I think that that's why like socks and washcloths and things of that nature are so popular for trips like hiking and fishing. I personally like to pick a pattern where it's either straight stockinette or it is a memorable, like a pattern with memorable repeats. So I'm not necessarily having to worry about referencing a pattern or taking a pattern out of my bag if it's on paper and it getting wet or muddy, any of those things. And I think it's important to pick a pattern that it's easy for you to read your knitting. And by that, I mean that it's easy for you to tell what your stitches look like. So for each person, that's going to vary a little bit depending on where you're at with your stitching journey. And if you can read your work easily, then it will make it easier for you to progress in your pattern or fix things as they arise. I hope that made sense. I think it does. But to help you out, included in the links in this description of this YouTube video is a link to a pattern bundle over on Ravelry that includes some of my favorite projects for when I am hiking or fishing. They're small, or they can be broken into smaller pieces. Excuse me. They have simple pattern repeats. And while I like to download my patterns onto my phone, if my phone happens to die on me, I can usually pick up where I'm at and I can keep going. I think also a couple of patterns that as of the recording of this video aren't on there, but I also think would be great would be any of the washcloth patterns or the blanket panel of the month club from here at the yarn shop. Not every panel from the blanket is separate, but enough of them are that it would be an easy way to take something small with you that would be working towards a bigger project. And the washcloth patterns for sure would be great for this. So now that you kind of have your pattern picked out, what are you going to pack it in, right? So here are my key 3 things to success. Can the bag be washed? Because, you know, things happen. Is it lined? Meaning that is it thick enough that your darning needle or your knitting needles aren't gonna poke out through the bag? And is it easy to what I call stuff and carry? That's 2 important components. So I have a couple of bags here to show you. This first one's a little bit bigger than I'd really prefer to take camping or hiking or fishing. But this one could hold a couple of projects if need be. But this is Briar Patch's project bag. It has a pocket in the front. It is definitely lined and has pockets in the inside. And it would be easy to hold this strap over your wrist if you wanted to work out of the bag. And the way the zipper is lined up here if you zip it most of the way closed and just leave a little hole for your yarn, you can still have it out of the bag and you can still be working without exposing all of your yarn to the elements per se. And you can hold it on either hand. Like I said, this is a little bit bigger than I personally would prefer, but this would be a great option for you. The second bag I have is actually my preferred bag for any place where I know I'm gonna have to stand in line, even like Disneyland, because it holds one skein of yarn and a small project. If you are a sock knitter and you split your socks between two skeins, also would very nicely fit into here. There is a couple of pockets here on the side, and this is the zipper pouch from Bink Waffle. It also gives you the option to switch which set, like your carry thing can switch to either side. Super durable fabric, definitely lined. Both of these items are washable. Trying to think of what, yes, both have carry handles. So you can kind of see the theme here. This one in particular also, it definitely fits the easy to stuff and carry option. It's easy to carry because it's the size of a small wristlet, and it is way easy to stuff. You can just stuff it right into your fishing tackle bag or your hiking backpack, whatever suits you. Oh, now I have it like caught on my wrist. And we have these in a couple of different patterns. This is just my personal one from my stash. But this one, the Bink Waffle ones also come in an array of super fabulous fabrics. Now that we have our pattern and our bag, oh, and I will also include a link to both of these bag options also in the description below if you would like to shop, no pressure. Last but not least, I want to encourage you to carry these uncommon notions, a small towel, because you never know when you might get something slimy or kind of muddy on your hands, and it's easy to just dry them off or wipe them off with a towel. Our washcloth patterns also would be great for this because you could make your washcloth and then also have a washcloth to wipe things off with. Dual purpose there. Lotion, I'm going to recommend the lotion bars that we carry in store from Rustic and Wild because they are solid, so you don't have to worry about them separating unless where you are is really hot. Like I've been on really hot airplanes with them and they haven't melted on me yet. And I've mailed them to Nebraska before and they arrived solid. So, I mean, not just that anything will melt given enough heat, but I think that these are a great option no matter the temperature, and they don't make your hands sticky after you use them. So that is a great option. And then the third thing is a nail file. Some people already carry nail files in their Notion bags. I am not very studious about this, but I do always try to make sure that I have a nail file when I'm fishing or hiking because I inevitably break a nail and then it snags on my knitting and it gets very frustrating. So 3 little notions, don't take up much room, can stuff right into your little bag and keep you going on your making. I want to know if you have any questions about this. This is clearly one of my shorter videos, but it's just like a few tips and tricks to make it a little bit more manageable to make while you're doing these things. I know a lot of people probably think I'm crazy when I pack my knitting for my fishing trips, and I am totally one of those girls that has even stuffed a skein of yarn and a pair of needles and done nothing but just knit, stock knit, while I'm sitting there next to my fishing pole. But I do think that it's just a super great way to get some making time in when otherwise you might have not thought about using it as making time. And there's like totally those fun like Instagram reels and TikTok reels where people are walking while they're making that are super fun to watch. So why not give it a try? Feels good to me. So I hope that this video is helpful, but if you have additional questions, I hope that you'll drop them below. And whether you liked it or not, I hope that you'll give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel, because your support helps make these videos possible. As always, if you're interested in shopping any of the products that I've mentioned, you're welcome to stop in store or shop online at our website. And until next time, I hope that your time is filled with light and love and yarn.